welcome to your own YouTube channel, the Western Lingua Classes. So today in this session we are going to cover our next part of my first video, that was the definite articles. So if you haven't seen my first video, then first of all go on that view, go and view that, and after that come to this session, because in that video I have explained you introduction of articles in such a very beautiful manner so that you can understand it very easily. Okay, so what we are going to cover today, that are the definite articles. So what are the definite articles and what are the rules and regulations to apply the definite articles, and where it is not applied? We will cover all this topic in this session. So ladies and gentlemen, it is strictly recommended that you should hit the like button, subscribe to this channel and share it to your friends so that they can also get some little knowledge about the definite articles. So let's move to the board. So as I have told you in my first session that definite article the is called the definite articles. So what is the first rule? The rule 1 says that the is used before oceans, sea, bays, gulfs, canals. Okay, so it's the geographical use of the definite articles. So the is used before the oceans, sea, bays, gulfs and canals. So for example, you can take the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Red Sea, the Dead Sea, the Black Sea, and in canal you can take the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, okay, the Indira Gandhi Canal, and in bays the Bay of Bengal and Gulf of Mexico. So guys, there is one contradiction, that the is not used before one magical and one heroic bay, that is Hudson Bay. Okay guys, so it's your today's homework that you will have to tell me why the is not used before Hudson Bay. Okay, homework is that why the is not used before Hudson Bay. Okay, answer me in the comment box. So the is not used before the Hudson Bay. Now come to our next rule. The is used before the names of desert. The is used before the name of desert. For example, the Thar Desert, the Sahara Desert, the Kalahari Desert, the Gobi Desert. Okay, so the is used before the names of deserts. And after that, our rule 3 says that the is used before the groups of mountain. Here you will have to concentrate that the is used before the groups of mountain, series of mountain, but the is not used before the peaks of mountain. Okay, for example, you can take that the Himalayas, the Eastern Ghats, the Alps, but these are the groups of mountain. Or you can easily understand it that the is used before those mountains which have S in their end. Okay, just like the Himalayas, see S, the Alps, S, the Eastern Ghats, the Western Ghats. See, here is S. So it's very easy to understand for you all, but the is not used before the, what I have told you, that the is not used before the peaks of mountain. For example, you cannot say the Mount Everest. You cannot say the Mount Everest. You will have to say Mount Everest. You will have to say the K2. You should not say the K2. You will have to say K2. So the is also used before the names of rivers. Okay, for example, the Ganga, the Yamuna, the Brahmaputra, the Thames, the Tyne. Okay, but the is not used when that river has its city name before it. For example, you can take Kingston on the Thames. Here, what the mistake is that Kingston on the Thames. Kingston on the Thames. So it will become wrong. But when you say Kingston on Thames, so it will become right. You cannot apply the before that river. For example, take one more example, Newcastle on time. You cannot say Newcastle on the time. That will become wrong. So now let's move to our second rule. Fifth rule. What does fifth rule say? Let's come and write. So let's move to our fourth rule. What does fourth rule say? The is used before the heavenly bodies. What does heavenly body means? Sounds new? No. The is used before the heavenly body. For example, the sun, the earth, the moon, the Mars, the Mercury. For example, the sun is in the center of the solar system. So here, before sun, because sun is an heavenly body, before sun I am using the. For the moon, the stars, chocos, moons and stars. Right? So now come to the fifth rule. The is used before the political parties. Clap for the definite article, guys. Clap for him, because he is also coming in politics also. That sounds good. Now come to the point. The is used before the political parties, just like the BJP, the Trinamool Congress, the TMC, the Congress, the CPIM, and the CPIM, the Congress. Okay. So this was the fifth rule, and sixth rule says what? The is used before the religious book. For example, the Ramayana, the Bible, the Quran, the Upanishad, and the Paradise Lost. Okay. So, but there is one contradiction, that if this religious book consists of its author name before it, then we cannot use the before that. How? Say, just example I want to say, Valmiki's Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana. So you cannot say Valmiki's the Ramayana. It will become wrong. But when you will say Valmiki's Ramayana, it will become right, because we use the before the names of book, before the names of religious book. But if we add the when that book consists of its author's name before it, then it will become definitely, totally, fully wrong. Okay. Now guys, let's move to the rule number 7. What does rule number 7 says? It says that the is used before the government branches and the armed forces. What does this mean? Government branches means the people who are working under the supervision of the government is known as government, or you can in Hindi you can say them sarkari karamchari. Okay. So, and armed forces, the people who are army, who protects our nation, are known as armed forces. For example, you can take the judiciary, the executive, the air force, the army. Okay. The navy, you can also say the navy. Okay guys, Now let's move to the rule number 8. The is used before the musical instruments. Okay. For example, you can take the tabla, the piano, the dholak, the trumpet, the guitar, the harmonium, but if that musical instrument is used in the sense of a countable noun, but that musical instrument is used if that musical instrument is used in the sense of countable noun, then we have to add a or an before that. Okay guys, if that musical instrument is used in the sense of a countable noun, then we will have to add a or an before that. For example, you can take he has bought a piano. There are 2 pianos. Okay, then we will have to use a or an before that. So guys, now let's move to our next. So guys, let's move to our next rule, rule number 9. What does rule number 9 says? The is used before the historical empire, dynasties, building, historical period, ages and events, battle. For example, you can take in empire, you can take the example of the Roman Empire, the Mughal Empire. Okay, in dynasty you can take the example of the Tughlaq dynasty, the Slave dynasty, the Chalukya dynasty, the Gupta dynasty, the Ashoka dynasty. Okay, and in buildings you can take the example of the Red Square, the Qutub Minar, the Char Minar, and the Buland Darwaza, and the Taj Mahal, the Bibi Ka Maqbara. And Bibi Ka Maqbara is the poor imitation of the Taj Mahal, which was built by the Aurangzeb. Okay guys, so don't get confused. In period and ages you can take example of the Neolithic age, the New Stone Age, and the New Stone Age. And guys, you can also take the Restoration period. Okay. And in battle you can take the French Revolution, the English Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the Indo-Pak Revolution. Okay guys, so now let's move to the next rule. What does rule number 10 says? The is used before the superlative degree. What is superlative degree? Tall, taller, tallest, fast, faster, fastest. Okay guys, so what is the example? The tallest man, the happiest girl, the fastest train, the fastest runner. Okay guys, the most handsome boy. Okay, so these are the example of the superlative degree, but there is one contradiction, that if let me write here one example, that the most beautiful girl. Guys, if the most beautiful girl, if most is used in the sense of the very, then we will have to apply not the, but we will have to apply a before that. Once again I am repeating, if the is used in the sense of in the sense of very, then you will have to apply a before that. That, for example, this is a most useful river or useful pen. Okay guys, so if most is used in the sense of the very, then you will have to apply a before that. So now let's move to our next rule. What does next rule say? The is used before the ordinal adjective. For example, ordinal adjective means what? First, last, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Okay guys, so If the is used before the ordinal adjective, for example, the first Prime Minister of India, you will have to answer me that who was the first Prime Minister of India in the comment box. So the last chapter of this book, the next verse, the second CM of the Jharkhand CM means Chief Minister. But guys, the is never used in ordinal adjective. The is never used in Roman figure. For example, take King Louis XVI. So guys, King Louis XVI, who was the leader of who was the king in the France, and due to him the French Revolution was done. Okay guys, so you can never say King Louis the 16th. Okay, so the is never used before the Roman number or Roman figure. If you will say King Louis 16, that it will become definitely wrong. But if you will say King Louis 16, it will become right. For example, the Queen Elizabeth II. You cannot say Queen Elizabeth the second. Got it? Got it? So the is not used before the Roman figure. So now let's move. This is a very important note. First of all, you can take a screenshot of that. Then I will tell you that what is important in this. Rule number 11. Happen guys? So guys, look over here. Next, last plus time expressing word. जैसे week, month, year. Week, month, year, morning, time, morning, night. Okay guys, then the is never used before next and last with time expressing word. For example, the last week, you cannot say the last week, it will definitely become wrong. You will have to say the last week. The next day, next. Move to our next rule, rule number 14, and let's see what does rule number 14 says. Rule number 14 says that the is used before the inventions. Inventions, it means just like the telescope, the electric bulb, the safety pin, the adhesive tape and the stethoscope. Okay guys, so rule number 15. The is used before the public places. For example, the zoo, the SBI, the State Bank of India, the Botanical Garden. But guys, there is also one exception. What is that exception guys? That the is not used. The is not used before the station, parks, road. Okay. The is never used before the station, parks and roads. The is not used before station, parks and roads. Okay guys, for example you can take the Hajipur station or Hajipur junction. So if I will say the Hajipur junction, so it will become wrong. But when I will say Hajipur junction is in Bihar, then it will become correct. And guys, the is also used before the names of the state. For example, this is the Bihar since 1990s. Okay. So guys, if I will say the Patna junction, it will become wrong. But when I will say Patna junction, it will become correct. So guys, you have all got it. And let's take the example of a road, that the club road. It will become wrong. But when we say club road, it will become right. So guys, you got it that the is never used before station, parks and roads. So guys, let's move to our rule number 17. The is used before clauses and phrases. Okay guys, see over here. The is used before clauses and phrases. For example, the girl in the corner, the girl sitting in the corner is my sister. The girl sitting in the corner is my sister. So here guys, this the girl sitting in the corner, so the girl in the corner. You saw that there are clauses are there. Okay guys, so the is used before clauses. The house in which I live is new. Okay guys, so guys, now let's move to our next rule. The is used before the name of the states, as I have told you that the Bihar since 1990s. And guys, the is never used before the astrophist is. For guys, you can see, let me write me here. Rule number 18. The is not used before apostrophe s. For example, you cannot say Rama's the father. Okay, it will become wrong. But when you will say Rama's father, it will be right. So the is not used after or before the apostrophe s. Now let's move to the next rule, guys. If common noun is used, let me write rule number 19. If common noun is used in the sense of the abstract noun, then the is used before that. Okay guys, for example, you can say the father is in him. Guys, what does this sentence means? The father is in him. The father in him means in Hindi we can say उसके अंदर पितृत्व यानी कि पितृत्व का गुण है. It means in him there are qualities of her or his father. Okay, so we cannot see qualities, right? We cannot even touch the qualities. Can you touch the qualities? No. So if common noun is used in the sense of the abstract noun, then the is used before that. Now guys, let's move to our next rule. Now the next rule says that the is used before the breakfast, dinner, lunch and supper. Okay, for example, you can say the dinner, the supper, the lunch. Okay guys, so this was for the today's session. In this session we have completed our total and fully completed our definite articles. Guys, in my next video we will cover the indefinite article, and after that no uses of article, and after that omissions of the article. So guys, after ending this all session, we will also launch the rider series for you all, so that you can get practice set, and we will discuss some tricks on how to learn these. Okay guys, so this was for today's session. Thank you, Jai Hind. And guys, before leaving this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel and share it to your friends, and leave the comment and do the homework that I have given you in this session. So guys, bye bye, see you later. Happy learning, and stay home and stay safe from COVID-19. Thank you, Jai Hind.